There was Benson, her husband, sitting at a fancy restaurant with a beautiful young woman. They were smiling at each other, and Benson was holding her hand across the table. "No," Sabina whispered, shaking her head. Her chest felt tight. Sabina walked up and down the large living room, her feet making soft sounds on the polished marble floor. The room was bright and tastefully decorated, with expensive curtains hanging by the tall windows and a shining chandelier sparkling above her head. But none of that mattered to Sabina at this moment. Her heart was heavy and her mind was troubled. She clutched her phone tightly, her eyes darting to the screen every few seconds, as if waiting for a miracle call that wouldn't come. She let out a deep sigh, her hands trembling slightly. "What am I going to do now?" she whispered to herself, glancing at the large family portrait hanging on the wall. It showed Benson, standing tall, with his sharp suit and confident smile. Sabina stood beside him in the picture, holding their two children, Anita and Joseph. They all looked happy in the photo, but Sabina couldn't remember the last time they actually felt like a happy family. Just as she was about to sit down, she heard footsteps coming from the stairs. Benson appeared, dressed sharply in a grey suit with a black tie, his leather shoes gleaming as he descended. His briefcase was in one hand and he seemed to be in a hurry. "Benson," Sabina called softly, stopping in her tracks. Benson frowned, already looking irritated. What is it, Sabina?" he asked sharply, not bothering to meet her eyes. Sabina hesitated for a moment, but then gathered her courage. "Can we talk for a moment, please?" Benson glanced at his wristwatch, his expression hardening. "See, I don't have time for this," he replied coldly. "I'm running late, as you can see. Just say whatever you want to say and make it quick." Sabina swallowed hard, her voice trembling as she spoke. "My husband. I need money to pay the children's school fees and to buy foodstuffs for the house. Anita and Joseph have been sent home for days now, and you haven't done anything about it." She looked at him, hoping for a kind response, but Benson's face twisted with anger. He took a step closer to her, his voice rising. And so? What do you want me to do about it, Sabina? If they're at home, is that my business?" Sabina's heart sank. "Benson, please, they are your children. They need to go back to school. And we have no food left in the house. I can't even cook anything for them." Benson scoffed and waved his hand dismissively. "Then go and work. Go and find money to take care of them yourself. Why are you standing here complaining? See, madam, don't ever stop me to say this kind of rubbish again." Tears welled up in Sabina's eyes. She took a shaky breath and spoke, her voice breaking. "Benson, you know I've wanted to work or start a small business for years, but you never allowed me. You said I should focus on the house and the children. Now you are blaming me for not having money." Benson rolled his eyes and stepped past her. "Leave me alone, Sabina. I don't have time for this nonsense." He pushed her away as he stomped towards the door. Sabina stumbled slightly but managed to steady herself. She stood frozen for a moment, watching him walk away without looking back. The sound of the front door slamming shut echoed through the house, leaving an empty silence behind. "Mommy," a small voice called out softly. Sabina turned to see Anita, her 7-year-old daughter, standing near the doorway with tears in her big brown eyes. Joseph, her 5-year-old son, stood beside his sister, holding her hand tightly. "Mommy, don't cry," Anita said, running to her mother and wrapping her small arms around her waist. Joseph followed quickly, hugging her from the other side. Sabina knelt down and put them both into her arms, her tears falling freely now. "I'm sorry, my babies," she whispered. "I'm so sorry you have to go through this." Joseph looked up at her, his little face serious. "Mommy, everything will be okay. Don't cry. We'll be fine." Anita nodded, her voice firm despite the tears in her eyes. "Yes, Mommy. You always tell us to be strong, so you have to be strong too." Sabina smiled weakly, wiping her tears away. "You two are my little angels," she said, kissing their foreheads. "I promise I will do everything I can to take care of you." Anita held her mother's face in her small hands. "We believe you, Mommy. You are the best." Sabina hugged them tightly, drawing strength from their innocent words. But deep down inside, she was filled with fear and uncertainty. How was she going to manage? How could she provide for her children when Benson refused to help? She led Anita and Joseph to the couch and sat down with them, trying to come up with a plan. "Anita, Joseph," she said softly, "I need you both to be patient with me, okay? Things are hard right now, but I'll figure something out and you will go back to school." Anita nodded. "We will help you, Mommy. I can clean the house and Joseph can help too." Joseph piped up eagerly. "Yes, Mommy. I can carry things and sweep the floor." Sabina couldn't help but smile at their determination. "Thank you, my loves. But for now, you just have to focus on being the amazing children you are. Leave the hard work to me." They nodded, and Sabina kissed them again, holding them close. Later that day, after feeding the children with gari and a little water, Sabina sat alone in the kitchen, staring at the empty shelves. The house that once overflowed with abundance now felt like a shadow of its former self. Sabina's mind raced with thoughts. She needed to find a way to make money, even if it meant defying Benson. She couldn't let her children suffer any longer. As the evening approached, Sabina stood by the window, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. Anita and Joseph were playing quietly in the corner of the living room, their laughter bringing a small sense of comfort to her troubled heart. "I will not give up," Sabina whispered to herself. "For Anita and Joseph, I will find a way." With a renewed sense of determination, she began to make a mental list of the things she could do. She thought about the skills she had, the people she could reach out to for help, and the sacrifices she was willing to make for her children. But deep down, she knew it wouldn't be easy. Benson's words still echoed in her mind, filling her with both anger and sadness. That night, Sabina sat on the couch in the quiet living room, her mind heavy with worry. The clock on the wall ticked loudly, and every sound seemed to echo through the large empty house. Benson hadn't returned home. It wasn't the first time this had happened. This had been going on for over a year now. Sabina looked at the clock again. It was past midnight. She sighed deeply, resting her head on the couch. "Where are you, Benson?" she whispered to herself, though she already knew there would be no answer. When this behavior first started, she had tried to call him, but he either ignored her calls or answered rudely, telling her to stop disturbing him. Now, she didn't even bother to call. She knew it would only make things worse. Sabina sat there for hours waiting, but Benson never came home that night. She finally dragged herself to bed, her heart aching as she thought about her children sleeping upstairs. "They don't deserve this," she whispered, wiping a tear from her cheek. The next morning, Sabina heard the front door open. She rushed downstairs, hoping to talk to Benson. He walked in, dressed in the same clothes he had worn the day before. He looked tired, but didn't show any sign of guilt or explanation. "Benson," Sabina called softly, standing by the stairs. He didn't answer. Instead, he dropped his briefcase on the couch and started walking towards the stairs. "Benson, please, can we talk?" Sabina asked again, her voice trembling. Benson stopped and turned to face her, his expression filled with irritation. "What is it, Sabina? Can't you see I'm tired?" Sabina took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "You didn't come home last night. This has been happening for a long time now. Please, Benson, what's going on? Where were you?" Benson's eyes darkened and he stepped closer to her. "What I do and where I go is none of your business," he shouted. "Stop asking me stupid questions." Sabina flinched but didn't back down. "Benson, I'm your wife. I have a right to know." Before she could finish, Benson pushed her aside roughly. "Leave me alone, Sabina," he barked as he stomped up the stairs, leaving her standing there in shock. Sabina leaned against the wall, tears streaming down her face. She felt broken, but she couldn't let herself fall apart. She wiped her face and went to the kitchen to prepare breakfast for the children. Later that morning, Benson came downstairs, now freshly dressed in a crisp white shirt and dark trousers. He didn't say a word to Sabina or the children as he grabbed his car keys and walked out of the house. "Daddy, bye-bye," Anita called out, waving from the dining table where she and Joseph were eating bread. But Benson didn't respond. He didn't even look back. The sound of the front door slamming shut made Sabina wince. "Mommy," Anita said softly, looking at her mother, "why doesn't Daddy ever stay with us anymore?" Sabina forced a smile, though her heart was breaking. "Don't worry, my love. Daddy is just very busy with work," she said, stroking Anita's hair. Joseph looked up from his plate, his big eyes filled with confusion. "But Mommy, other daddies come home and play with their children. Why doesn't Daddy play with us?" Sabina swallowed hard, trying to keep her voice steady. "Daddy loves you both very much. He's just very busy right now. Eat your food, okay?" The children nodded, but Sabina could tell they weren't convinced. She turned away, blinking back tears as she washed the plate in the sink. Later that day, Sabina was sitting on the couch, thinking about what to do. She didn't have any money left, and there was barely any food in the house. She had called a few friends the previous week to ask for help, but their responses had been hurtful. "Sabina," one of her friends had said, "you married a rich man. Why are you begging people for money? Go and ask your husband." Another friend had laughed and said, "You are always talking about how rich your husband is. Now you are begging? What happened to all the money?" Sabina had hung up the phone, feeling humiliated. She didn't want to call anyone again. She didn't want to hear more insults. Just as she was lost in thought, there was a knock on the door. Sabina stood up quickly and opened it. Standing there was Jennifer, her best friend. Jennifer was a beautiful woman with a warm smile and a kind heart. She was holding two large bags of foodstuffs. "Jennifer!" Sabina exclaimed, her eyes widening. "Hello, Sabina," Jennifer said, smiling as she stepped inside. "I brought you some things." Sabina's eyes filled with tears as she looked at the bags. "You didn't have to, Jennifer. This is too much." "Nonsense," Jennifer replied, setting the bags down on the table. "You're my friend, and I can't just sit and watch you suffer." Sabina hugged her tightly. "Thank you so much, my friend. God bless you." Jennifer smiled and patted her back. "Sit down, Sabina. Let's talk." They both sat down on the couch, and Jennifer held Sabina's hand. "Sabina, you can't keep living like this. Benson isn't helping you, and it's not fair. You need to find a way to take care of yourself and the children." "But what can I do, Jennifer?" Sabina asked, her voice shaking. "Benson never allowed me to work or do business. I don't even know where to start." Jennifer gave her a reassuring smile. "It's never too late to start. You are smart and capable, Sabina. You can do anything you set your mind to. Start looking for a job or think about a small business you can start." Sabina nodded slowly, her mind racing with possibilities. "You're right, Jenny. I can't keep depending on Benson. I need to do something for my children." Jennifer squeezed her hand. "That's the spirit. I will help you in any way I can. Just let me know what you decide." Sabina smiled, feeling a glimmer of hope for the first time in a long time. "Thank you, Jenny. I don't know what I would do without you." Jennifer stood up and hugged her friend again. "That's what friends are for. You are not alone, Sabina. Remember that." When Jennifer left, Sabina looked at the bags of foodstuffs and then at her children, who were playing happily in the corner of the living room. She felt a new sense of determination. "I will do whatever it takes to give my children a better life," she said to herself. "No matter how hard it is, I will never give up." That night, as Sabina tucked Anita and Joseph into bed, she whispered softly, "Good night, my angels. Mommy will make things better. I promise." Anita smiled sleepily and said, "I love you, Mommy." "I love you too," Sabina replied, kissing both of them on their foreheads. As she lay in bed later that night, Sabina began to make plans. She didn't know what the future held, but she was ready to face it head on. Days later, Sabina stood in the kitchen, stirring a pot of soup. The sweet aroma of the soup filled the house, but her mind was far away. She had been thinking about Benson's behavior, trying to make sense of it all. Her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of her phone buzzing on the counter. She quickly wiped her hands on a towel and picked up the phone. It was Jennifer. "Hello, Jenny," Sabina said, her voice soft but curious. "Sabina," Jennifer said quickly, her tone urgent. "Please, check your phone now. You need to see this." "Check my phone? What's going on?" Sabina asked, her heart starting to race. "Just check it," Jennifer replied before hanging up. Confused, Sabina ended the call and checked her phone. Her hands trembled as she opened the message Jennifer had sent her. It was a picture. Her heart sank as she stared at the image. There was Benson, her husband, sitting at a fancy restaurant with a beautiful young woman. They were smiling at each other, and Benson was holding her hand across the table. No, Sabina whispered, shaking her head. Her chest felt tight, and her breathing quickened. This can't be real. Without thinking, she dialed Jennifer's number. Her hands were shaking so much that she almost dropped the phone. Jennifer picked up at the first ring. Sabina, she said softly. Jennifer, who is this woman? Sabina asked, her voice trembling. Why is Benson with her? Jennifer sighed. Sabina, girl, no be small thing o. I saw them with my 2 eyes. Sabina clutched the phone tightly. You saw them? When? Where? Jennifer began to explain. Well, a few days ago, Kelvin, my fiancé, and I were at the mall. We were shopping when I suddenly saw Benson. He was with this lady, the one in the picture. Her name is Toyosi. Toyosi, Sabina repeated, her voice breaking. Yes, Jennifer continued. Kelvin recognized Benson because they knew each other from university. But I quickly excused myself before Benson could even see me. So, Kelvin went up to greet him. Sabina, do you know what Benson did? What did he do? Sabina asked, her heart pounding. He introduced Toyosi to Kelvin as the love of his life. Jennifer said, her voice filled with disbelief. Can you imagine? He didn't even mention you or the kids. He acted like you didn't exist. Sabina gasped, tears filling her eyes. No, this can't be true. Are you sure, Jennifer? Sabina, I was shocked too, Jennifer said. After Kelvin told me what Benson said, I had to tell him the truth. I told him Benson is married to you and has 2 children, 2 beautiful children. Kelvin was surprised. He said Benson didn't act like a married man at all. Sabina leaned against the kitchen counter, her legs feeling weak. Jennifer, this is too much. I don't understand. Why would you do this to me? Jennifer's voice softened. Sabi, it gets worse. Kelvin did some digging for me. He found out that Benson bought a house and a sleek car for Toyosi. Can you imagine? A house and a car, Sabina. Meanwhile, he has never even bought you a good phone. Sabina felt like the ground was spinning beneath her. She held her chest, trying to catch her breath. Jennifer, are you serious? A house and a car for another woman? Yes, my dear, Jennifer said sadly. I'm so sorry to tell you this, but you needed to know the truth. Sabina burst into tears, her sobs echoing through the kitchen. She slid down to the floor, clutching the phone as if it could somehow make the pain go away. Jennifer, what do I do? She cried. How do I face him? How do I ask him about this? Jennifer's voice was filled with concern. Sabi, you need to be strong. Don't confront him just yet. Let me find out more about Toyosi first. I will try to get her address and let you know. Okay, Sabina said weakly, wiping her tears. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for telling me the truth. I'm here for you, Sabina, Jennifer said gently. You don't deserve this. Benson doesn't deserve someone as kind and patient as you. Just stay strong for now, okay? Sabina nodded, though Jennifer couldn't see her. Okay, she whispered. After hanging up the phone, Sabina sat on the floor for a long time, staring blankly at the wall. Her mind was a storm of emotions: anger, sadness, betrayal, and confusion. Now, she understood why Benson had been treating her so badly, why he had stopped coming home regularly, why he refused to provide for the family. All his money, all his attention was going to Toyosi. Sabina buried her face in her hands and wept. The pain was too much to bear. Why? Benson, why? She whispered through her tears. Why are you doing this to me? The sound of small footsteps brought her back to reality. She looked up to see Anita and Joseph standing in the doorway, their faces filled with worry. Mommy, are you okay? Anita asked softly, holding her brother's hand. Sabina quickly wiped her tears and forced a smile. I'm fine, my loves. Don't worry about me. But mommy, you are crying, Joseph said, stepping closer to her. Sabina opened her arms and the children ran to her, wrapping their small arms around her. I'm okay, she said again, hugging them tightly. Mommy is just tired. Don't cry, Mommy, Anita said. We love you. I love you both too, Sabina whispered, her voice breaking. You are the reason I keep going. She held them for a long time, drawing strength from their innocence and love. That night, after putting the children to sleep, Sabina sat alone in the living room, staring at the picture of Benson and Toyosi on her phone. Her tears had dried, but the pain in her chest remained. She thought about all the years she had spent with Benson, the sacrifices she had made, the dreams she had given up, all for the sake of their family. And now, he had thrown it all away for another woman. Sabina clenched her fists, anger bubbling up inside her. I can't let him get away with this, she said to herself. I have to confront him. But how? She paced the living room, thinking of different ways to bring up the topic. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't figure out the right approach. She was afraid of how Benson would react. Finally, she sank into the couch, exhausted. God, please help me, she whispered. Show me what to do. I can't do this alone. As the house grew quiet, Sabina closed her eyes and tried to calm her mind. She didn't know what the future held, but she promised herself one thing. She would fight for her dignity and for the happiness of her children. Days passed, and Sabina acted as though nothing had happened. She carried on with her daily routine, cooking, cleaning, and taking care of Anita and Joseph. Benson, as usual, came and went as he pleased, ignoring his responsibilities. Sabina never brought up Toyosi or the picture Jennifer had sent her. She kept her pain bottled up, waiting patiently for Jennifer to gather more information. She didn't want Benson to suspect anything. If she confronted him without a plan, she knew he would deny everything and twist the situation to make her look like the bad one. So, she stayed calm, though her heart burned with anger and betrayal. One evening, as she sat in the living room folding clothes, her phone beeped. It was a message from Jennifer. Sabina quickly picked up her phone and opened the message. It was a WhatsApp text with a location and a short note from Jennifer. Sabina, this is Toyosi's address. Be careful. Sabina stared at the message for a long time. She smiled slightly and replied, Thank you, Jennifer. I owe you so much. Jennifer replied almost immediately, You are my friend, Sabina. Just be careful and let me know if you need me. Sabina put her phone down and walked into her bedroom. She sat on the edge of the bed, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Her mind raced with thoughts. What was she going to do with this information? Should she go to Toyosi's house and confront her? Or should she wait and confront Benson first? Before she could decide, she had the door open. Benson walked into the room, looking irritated as usual. Sabina, is food ready? I'm hungry. Sabina looked up at him, her expression calm but cold. There is no food, she said simply. Benson frowned, stepping closer to her. What do you mean there is no food? This is my house. I have every right to ask for food. Sabina let out a small mocking laugh. She looked him straight in the eye and said, "Go and eat sand, Benson." Benson's eyes widened in shock. "Wait, what did you just say to me?" he shouted, his voice echoing through the room. Sabina stood up, her voice steady and firm. "You heard me. You didn't drop any money before leaving this house, and now you are demanding food? Go and eat sand." Benson's face turned red with anger. "Sabina, don't you dare talk to me like that. I am your husband, and this is my house." Sabina laughed again, shaking her head. "Husband? You are nothing but a selfish, useless man. You don't care about me or the kids, but you want to sit here and act like you are in charge? Benson, go and eat sand." With that, she walked out, leaving Benson standing there, fuming. He yelled after her, calling her names and cursing, but Sabina didn't look back. That night, Sabina didn't return to the bedroom. Instead, she slept in the guest room. She lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling and thinking about her next move. She had Toyosi's address now, but what will she do with it? She didn't want to act out of anger and make a mistake. "God, please, guide me," she whispered into the darkness. "I can't let Benson keep treating me like this, but I need your help to know what to do." The next morning, Sabina woke up early. She cleaned the house, made breakfast for Anita and Joseph, and got them dressed. She didn't want them to notice that anything was wrong. "Annie, Joseph," she said as they sat at the dining table eating, "after breakfast, we are going out." "Where are we going, Mommy?" Anita asked, her eyes bright with curiosity. "We are going to visit Auntie Jennifer," she replied with a smile. "Yay!" Joseph cheered. "I like Auntie Jennifer. She gives us biscuits and toys." Sabina laughed softly, but inside, her heart was heavy. She was about to take a step that could change everything, and she wasn't sure what would happen next. As she packed a small bag for the children, Benson came downstairs. He was dressed for work and looked at Sabina suspiciously. "Where are you going with the kids?" he asked, his tone sharp. Sabina didn't answer. She zipped up the bag, picked it up and called the children. "Anita, Joseph, let's go." Benson stepped in front of her, blocking the door. "Sabina, I asked you a question. Where are you going with my children?" Sabina looked at him calmly, her expression unreadable. "Move out of the way, Benson," she said firmly. "Answer me first," Benson demanded. Sabina didn't say another word. She stepped around him and opened the door. Anita and Joseph followed her, holding hands. "Sabina!" Benson shouted, but she didn't look back. When they arrived at Jennifer's house, Jennifer greeted them warmly. "Oh, my loves, welcome," she said, hugging them one by one. "Auntie Jennifer!" Anita and Joseph said happily, running into the house. Sabina smiled weakly and handed Jennifer the small bag she had packed. "Thank you for watching them," she said. Jennifer placed a hand on her shoulder. "Are you sure about this, Sabina?" "I have to do this, Jenny," Sabina replied. "I need answers. I can't keep living like this." Jennifer nodded, her face serious. "Be careful, Sabina. If anything goes wrong, call me immediately. Kevin and I will come to help." "I will," Sabina promised. "Thank you, Jennifer. You have done so much for me already." Jennifer hugged her tightly. "You are my friend. I will always be here for you." As Sabina left Jennifer's house, she felt a mix of fear and determination. She didn't know what would happen when she went to Toyosi's house, but she was ready to face whatever awaited her. "This is for my children," she told herself. "They deserve better than this." Sabina stood at the gate of the house, staring in disbelief. It was massive, painted in a dazzling white color, with tall pillars and a well-manicured lawn. The sleek black car parked in the compound gleamed under the sunlight. Sabina's heart sank. So, this is where Benson's money is going. She whispered to herself. She gripped her bag tightly, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. She opened the gate carefully and stepped into the compound. As she walked towards the front door, her chest tightened with every step. She didn't know what to expect, but she had to do this for her children. Just as she reached the door, it opened. A stunning young woman stepped out. She had flawless skin, long hair, and was dressed in a fitted dress that showed off her figure. Her face was painted with light makeup, and she carried herself with confidence. The woman noticed Sabina and frowned slightly. "Hello," she said, her voice polite but cautious. "Who are you and what do you want?" Sabina swallowed hard and forced a small smile. "Good afternoon. My name is Sabina," she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I'm here to talk to you about Benson." The woman's eyes narrowed. "Benson? What about him? And how do you know him?" Sabina took a deep breath. "I know him because he's my husband." The woman's expression immediately turned to anger. "Excuse me," she snapped. "What do you mean by your husband? Benson is my boyfriend. What nonsense are you talking about?" Sabina smiled sadly and raised a hand. "Please, be calm. I'm not here to fight or cause trouble. I just want to talk." The woman crossed her arms, looking furious. "Talk? About what? Are you trying to play games with me? Do you think you can just come to my house and tell me lies about my Benson?" Sabina reached into her bag and pulled out her phone. "I understand how you feel, but I'm telling the truth. Here, look at this." She showed the woman a picture on her phone, a family portrait of herself, Benson, and their two children. Sabina pointed to the picture. "This is me, Benson, and our two children, Anita and Joseph. Benson and I have been married for 8 years, 8 good years. 2 years ago, he started acting differently, and now I understand why." The woman, whose name was Toyosi, stared at the picture in shock. Her anger faded, replaced by confusion and disbelief. "Wait, are you serious?" "Yes," Sabina said quietly. "I didn't come here to fight you. I just wanted you to know the truth." Toyosi stepped back, holding her head. No, this can't be true. Benson told me he was single. He never mentioned a wife or kids. Oh my God." Sabina gave a bitter laugh. "He lied to you, just like he's been lying to me." "Toyosi, my sister, do you know what hurts the most? Benson bought you this beautiful house and car, while my children haven't been in school for weeks because he refuses to pay their fees. We don't even have enough food in the house." Toyosi's mouth fell open. No, this is too much. Benson did all that for me while you and your kids are suffering." "Yes," Sabina said, tears welling up in her eyes. "I don't blame you, Toyosi. You didn't know, but now you do. And I don't know what to do anymore." Toyosi sank onto a nearby chair on the porch, her hands trembling. "I can't believe this," she said softly. "We have been dating for a year now. He always seemed so perfect. He was kind, generous, and attentive. I never suspected that he was married." Sabina wiped her tears and sat down beside her. "It's not your fault. Benson is very good at lying and hiding things. That's how he's been able to deceive both of us." Toyosi looked up at her, her eyes filled with regret. Sabina, I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt anyone. If I had known he was married, I would never have gotten involved with him. Please forgive me. Sabina shook her head. You don't need to apologize. You have been lied to just like I have. But now that you know the truth, I need your help. Toyosi blinked in surprise. My help? How can I help you? Sabina hesitated for a moment before speaking. I don't want you to leave Benson. What? Toyosi said, looking confused. Yes, don't leave him, Sabina repeated. I need you to stay with him and help me get some money. Toyosi's eyes widened. Money? What do you mean? Sabina sighed deeply. I've been a housewife for years because Benson never allowed me to work. Now, he doesn't give us money for food or school fees. I want to start a business so I can take care of my children, but I need money to do that. Benson clearly trusts you more than he trusts me. Maybe you can convince him to give you money and then you can help me. Toyosi looked thoughtful. You want me to ask him for money and give it to you? Yes, Sabina said firmly. I know it's a strange request, but I don't have any other options. Benson has abandoned us and I need to find a way to take care of my kids. Toyosi was quiet for a long time, thinking about what Sabina had said. Finally, she nodded. Okay, I'll help you. I'll stay with him and see what I can do. I promise I'll do my best. Sabina smiled for the first time in a long time. Thank you, Toyosi. You don't know how much this means to me. Toyosi reached out and took Sabina's hand. I'm so sorry for everything you have been through. You are a strong woman and I admire your courage. I'll do whatever I can to help you. Sabina nodded, feeling a glimmer of hope. Thank you, my sister. Let's exchange numbers so we can stay in touch. They exchanged phone numbers and Sabina set to leave. Take care of yourself, Toyosi, she said. You too, Sabina, Toyosi replied. And don't worry, we'll make this right. As Sabina walked away from the house, she felt a mix of emotions, relief, sadness, and determination. She didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in a long time, she felt like she had a plan. Sabina arrived back at Jennifer's house as Anita and Joseph ran to greet her. The children happily ran off to play with the toys Jennifer had set up for them, leaving Sabina and Jennifer to talk in the living room. Jennifer noticed the look on Sabina's face and leaned forward. Sabina, how did it go? What happened at Toyosi's house? Gist me. Sabina let out a deep sigh and began to recount everything. She told Jennifer about Toyosi's beautiful house and car, Benson's lies, and how Toyosi had been deceived just like her. She also told Jennifer about her surprising conversation with Toyosi and how they had agreed to work together. Jennifer listened intently, her eyes widening with each new piece of information. When Sabina finished, Jennifer shook her head in disbelief. Sabina, Jennifer said, smiling. You are a smart woman. Honestly, I didn't think you would handle it this well. What you did was pure wisdom. Sabina gave a weak smile. It wasn't easy, Jennifer. I didn't want to cause trouble, but I also couldn't let Benson keep doing this to me and the kids. Jennifer reached out and held Sabina's hand. You did the right thing, my friend. Toyosi sounds like she's willing to help, and that's a good thing. Just be patient, okay? Everything will work out. Sabina nodded, her eyes welling up with tears. Thank you, Jenny. You have been my rock through all of this. I don't know what I would do without you. Jennifer smiled warmly. You are my friend, Sabina. I will always be here for you. And don't worry, Benson will soon regret everything he has done. After a while, Sabina gathered the children and prepared to leave. Thank you for everything, Jennifer. Thank you for taking care of the kids too, she said, hugging her friend tightly. Anytime, my friend, Jennifer replied. Remember, if you need anything, just call me. Jennifer nodded and left with Anita and Joseph, her heart feeling a little lighter. Meanwhile, back at Toyosi's house, Toyosi sat on her couch, lost in thought. Her mind replayed everything Sabina had told her. She felt a deep sense of guilt and anger. How could Benson do this? She muttered to herself. How could he lie to me about being single? How could he treat his own family so badly? She clenched her fist, her eyes narrowing. He thinks he's smart, but I will make sure he pays for this. I'll make him suffer for all the pain he has caused. That night, when Benson arrived at Toyosi's house, she greeted him with a warm smile. She acted as if nothing had happened, hiding her anger behind a mask of sweetness. Welcome, baby, Toyosi said, giving him a hug. How was your day? Benson smiled, clearly happy to see her. It was fine, my love. I missed you. Toyosi led him to the dining table, where she had prepared a delicious dinner. Benson sat down and began eating, complimenting her cooking. As they ate, Toyosi decided to put her plan into action. She looked at him with a sweet smile and said, Baby, I need to talk to you about something very important. Benson looked up from his plate. What is it, my love? Anything for you. Toyosi hesitated for a moment, then said, I want to buy a new property for my business. It's a great opportunity, but I need your help. Benson frowned slightly. A new property? How much is it? Well, it will cost 150 million naira, Toyosi said calmly. Benson's fork froze midway, and he stared at her. 150 million naira? Toyosi, that's a lot of money. I know, Toyosi said, nodding. But it's urgent. If I don't buy it now, someone else will take it. I need the money right away. Benson leaned back in his chair, looking uncomfortable. That's a huge amount, Toyosi. Can't you wait a few months? I will save up and give you the money then. Toyosi's expression changed. She looked at him coldly and said, If you're not willing to support me, then maybe we shouldn't be together. Benson's eyes widened in shock. What? Toyosi, don't say that. You know how much I care about you. Do you? Toyosi asked, raising an eyebrow. Because it doesn't seem like it. If you cared about me, you would find a way to help me. But if you're not serious, then maybe I should find someone else who is. Benson quickly stood up and walked to her, trying to calm her down. No, don't say that. I'll get the money for you, I promise. Good, Toyosi said, her voice firm. But I need it now, not later. Benson hesitated, then pulled out his phone. He transferred 100 million naira to her account and promised to send the remaining 50 million by the end of the month. Is this okay for now? He asked, looking at her nervously. Toyosi's face lit up with a smile. That's fine, baby. Thank you so much. I knew you wouldn't let me down. Benson relaxed and smiled, happy that she was no longer upset. Later that night, after Benson had gone to bed, Toyosi picked up her phone and sent a message to Sabina. Sabina, I've gotten the money. Come to my house in a few days and I will give it to you. Sabina received the message and felt a wave of relief. She replied, Thank you, Toyosi. I don't know how to repay you. Toyosi smiled as she read the message. She texted back, You don't need to repay me. Just take care of your kids. They deserve better. As Toyosi put down her phone, she made a silent vow. She would continue to play along with Benson's lies, but only for as long as it took to help Sabina. After that, she would make sure he faced the consequences of his actions. Days later, Sabina stood at the gate of Toyosi's house once more. Her heart was heavy, and she wasn't sure what to expect. Toyosi had been so helpful, and Sabina couldn't believe how far the young woman was willing to go to her sister. She knocked slightly on the door. A moment later, Toyosi appeared, looking as elegant as always. Sabina, Toyosi greeted with a warm smile. Come in. Sabina stepped inside and sat down in the living room. Toyosi joined her and immediately got to the point. So, Sabina, I have some good news. Toyosi began, her smile widening. Okay, what is it? Sabina asked curiously. I collected 100 million naira from Benson, Toyosi said calmly. Well, I requested for 150 million, so he gave me 100 million and promised to send the remaining 50 million by the end of the month. Here is what I will do. I will send you the 100 million naira now, but when he sends the rest, I will keep it for myself and break up with him. Sabina's jaw dropped. You mean you will send me the whole 100 million? Toyosi, that's too much. I don't even know how to thank you. Toyosi smiled gently. You don't have to thank me, Sabina. This is the least I can do. Benson deserves every bit of this, and for what he has done to you and your kids, I will make sure he regrets ever treating you like this. Sabina's eyes filled with tears as she clasped Toyosi's hands. Thank you, Toyosi. You have done more for me than I could ever imagine. God will bless you. Thank you. Toyosi nodded, her expression serious. I'm just doing what I know is right. Your children deserve a good life, and I want to help you give them that. That same day, Sabina received an alert on her phone. 100 million naira had been transferred to her account. She stared at the screen in disbelief, tears streaming down her face. Toyosi, I don't know what to say, Sabina whispered. Just promise me you will use it wisely. Toyosi replied with a smile. I will. Sabina said firmly, I will make sure my children never lack anything again. Days later, Sabina received another message from Toyosi. This time, the news was even more surprising. Toyosi told her that she had sold her house and car and wanted to send her half of the money. Sabina couldn't believe her eyes as she read the message. She sold her house and car and she's giving me the money? Sabina thought, stunned. She quickly called Toyosi. Toyosi, are you serious about this? You have already done so much for me. Why would you sell your house and car? Toyosi's voice was calm on the other end. Sabina, I've made up my mind. I'm leaving the country. I don't want to stay here and be reminded of all the lies Benson told me. But before I go, I want to make sure you and your kids are okay. But Toyosi, this is too much, Sabina began. No, it's not. Toyosi interrupted. I've made my decision and I'm happy with it. Please, don't argue with me. Sabina felt a lump in her throat as she tried to find the right words. Toyosi, I don't even know how to thank you. You are an angel. My children and I will never forget what you have done for us. Minutes later, Sabina received another alert, 100 million naira. She stared at her phone, tears streaming down her face. Thank you, God, she whispered. Thank you for sending Toyosi into my life. With the money Toyosi had given her, Sabina's life began to change. She enrolled Anita and Joseph in one of the best schools in the area, ensuring they would never have to worry about being sent home again. She stocked the house with food, filling the pantry and fridge with everything her family could ever need. But Sabina didn't stop there. She used part of the money to open a boutique. It was a large, beautiful shop filled with the latest clothes, shoes, and accessories. Sabina poured her heart into her new business, determined to succeed. Months passed, and Sabina's boutique became a huge success. She was earning her own money, and for the first time in years, she felt truly independent. One morning, Sabina dressed up in a stunning outfit and styled her hair beautifully. She was heading to her boutique to check on business. As she walked down the stairs, Benson, who was sitting in the living room, noticed her. Sabina, he called, his tone sharp. She stopped and looked at him. Yes? Where are you going? And why are you dressed like this? Benson asked, his eyes narrowing. And who bought you that hair? Sabina laughed, a sound that carried no joy. I'm going to my boutique, Mr. Man, she said, adjusting her bag. And as for the hair, I bought it myself. I can afford whatever I want now, Benson. Benson's eyes widened in shock. Boutique? What boutique? Since when do you own a boutique? Sabina smiled. Well, since I decided to stop waiting for you to take care of me and the kids. I'm running a successful boutique now, Benson. I don't need you anymore. Benson stared at her, his mouth hanging open. How? Where did you get the money to start a boutique? Sabina crossed her arms, a small smile playing on her lips. Oh my God. Your girlfriend Toyosi helped me. Oh, you don't know. She gave me 200 million naira to start my business. Benson jumped to his feet, his face a mixture of confusion and anger. What? How do you know Toyosi? And why would she give you money? Sabina chuckled and shook her head. It's a long story, Mr. Man. Let's just say Toyosi and I had a little chat. She knows everything about your lies and your betrayal. She decided to do the right thing and help me and the kids. Oh, you didn't know about it. You traveled and you just returned. And for your mind, Toyosi is waiting for you. Benson's face turned pale. You told her about us? Of course, my darling husband, Sabina said calmly. And she gave me the money you were wasting on her to build a life for myself and our children. Benson didn't say another word. He grabbed his car keys and stormed out of the house, slamming the door behind him. When Benson arrived at Toyosi's house, he found the gate locked. He knocked furiously, shouting her name, but no one answered. After a few minutes, a gateman came out and handed him an envelope. What is this? Benson asked, snatching the envelope. It's from Madame Toyosi, the gateman replied before walking away. Benson opened the letter and began to read. Mr. Benson, by the time you are reading this, I'm already gone. You won't see me again. I sold the house and the car you bought for me, as well as the money you gave me, and gave part of it to your beautiful wife. At least, she knows how to use it wisely to take care of the family you abandoned. Please go home, take care of your wife and kids, and stop misbehaving. Goodbye, Toyosi. Benson's hands shook as he finished reading the letter. He crumpled it in his fist and sat in his car. His mind racing, anger, regret, and shame consumed him. He didn't know how to face Sabina or his children. For a long time, he sat there, staring at the house that was no longer his to enter. Finally, he started the car and drove home, his heart heavy with regret. As Benson drove home that night, his mind was restless. He replayed Toyosi's letter in his head over and over again. The words cut deep, and for the first time in years, he felt regret. How did I let things get this bad? He thought to himself. Sabina, the kids, Toyosi. The streets were quiet as he drove, his hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. He couldn't shake the uneasy feeling in his chest. Suddenly, his phone buzzed on the passenger seat. Glancing at it briefly, he saw a string of notifications. Debit alert, he muttered, picking up his phone at the next red light. He quickly unlocked it and opened his banking app. His eyes widened in shock as he saw multiple transactions draining his account. What is going on? He whispered, scrolling through the transactions. The amounts were massive, and he couldn't understand where the money was going. Another notification buzzed, another debit, then another. No, no, no! Benson shouted, gripping the phone tightly. This can't be happening. In his panic, he didn't notice the green light. The cars behind him honked, snapping him out of his daze. He dropped the phone onto the passenger seat and started driving again, but his mind was racing. Who is taking my money? How is this happening? He muttered, glancing at his phone again. As he tried to make sense of it, his hand slipped on the wheel. His heart skipped a beat as he lost control of the car. He slammed his foot on the brake, but nothing happened. No! 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 He screamed, frantically turning the wheel. The brakes had failed. The car skidded off the road, and before Benson could react, it crashed into a pole with a loud bang. The sound of the shattering glass and crunching metal filled the air. Everything went black. It was late at night, and the street was mostly deserted. A few passerby heard the crash and rushed to the scene. "Someone is inside the car!" a man shouted, running towards the wreck. Another man joined him. "Quick, help me open the door!" They managed to pry the door open and carefully put Benson out of the car. Blood trickled down his forehead, and his body was limp. "He's unconscious," one of the men said. "We need to get him to the hospital now." "Let's use my car," another man offered. Together, they carried Benson to the waiting car and rushed him to the nearest hospital. At the hospital, Benson was immediately taken to the emergency room. Doctors and nurses worked quickly to stabilize him. His injuries were severe, and he had lost a lot of blood. "He's in critical condition," one of the doctors said. "We need to monitor him closely." After several hours of surgery and treatment, Benson was placed in the intensive care unit. He remained unconscious, hooked up to machines that monitors his vitals. Meanwhile, at home, Sabina was completely unaware of what had happened. She had long stopped worrying about Benson's whereabouts, as he rarely kept in touch or informed her of his plans. Probably out there with another woman, she thought bitterly as she tucked Anita and Joseph into bed. "Good night, Mommy," Anita said sleepily. "Good night, my angel," Sabina replied, kissing her forehead. Joseph yawned. "Good night, Mommy. I love you." "I love you too, my baby," Sabina said with a smile. She closed their bedroom door and sighed deeply. Her life had become peaceful since she started her business and focused on her children. But there was still a small ache in her heart when she thought about her broken marriage. Days passed, and Benson remained in a coma. The hospital staff checked on him often, hoping for signs of improvement. One afternoon, a nurse noticed his fingers twitching slightly. She called the doctor, who confirmed that Benson was beginning to regain consciousness. Hours later, Benson opened his eyes, slowly blinking against the harsh hospital light. His head throbbed, and his body felt heavy. Where am I?" he croaked, his voice weak. A nurse approached his bedside. "You are in the hospital, sir. You were in an accident." Benson winced as he tried to move. "An accident?" "Yes," the nurse said gently. "You have been unconscious for several days. You are lucky to be alive." Benson's mind raced as he tried to piece everything together. The accident, the debit, the pole. It all came back to him in fragments. Has anyone come for me?" he asked weakly, his heart sinking. The nurse hesitated before replying. "No, sir. No one has come." Benson closed his eyes, the weight of her words hitting him like a punch to the gut. No one had come for him. Not Sabina, not his children, not even Toyosi. "Do you have anyone we can contact?" the nurse asked. Benson nodded slightly. My wife. Her name is Sabina." The nurse wrote down Sabina's name and contact information as Benson provided it. "We will reach out to her," she said reassuringly. "Thank you," Benson whispered, his voice barely audible. As the nurse left the room, Benson stared at the ceiling, tears streaming down his face. He had always thought he could do whatever he wanted, that his actions wouldn't catch up with him. But now, lying in a hospital bed alone, he realized how wrong he had been. "Sabina," he whispered, his voice breaking. "I'm so sorry." Back at home, Sabina was busy preparing dinner for the children when her phone rang. She wiped her hands on a towel and picked it up. "Hello," she said, her voice curious. "Good evening, ma'am. Is this Mrs. Sabina Benson?" "Yes, this is Sabina," she replied, frowning slightly. "Who is calling?" "This is Dr. Andrew from City Hospital." The voice on the other end said, "Your husband, Mr. Benson, was involved in a car accident and is currently in our care." Sabina froze, the spoon in her hand clattering to the floor. "A car accident?" she repeated, her heart pounding. "Yes," the doctor confirmed. "He's stable now, but was in a coma for several days. He gave us your contact information and asked us to reach out to you. Sabina didn't know how to respond. Part of her wanted to rush to the hospital, but another part of her felt numb. Benson had caused her so much pain. Did she still owe him her care? "Thank you for letting me know," she said finally. "I'll think about what to do." As she hung up the phone, Sabina sat down heavily on the kitchen stool, her mind racing. "Mommy, is everything alright?" "Yes, my love, everything is fine. Go back to your room." As Anita left, Sabina leaned back in her chair, her emotions swelling. She didn't know what decision she could make, but one thing was clear. This was a turning point for her and her children. The next morning, Sabina prepared herself to visit the hospital. She couldn't sleep all night. Her thoughts turned between the pain Benson had caused her and the image of him lying helpless in a hospital bed. Despite everything, he was still the father of her children, and she couldn't bring herself to ignore his condition. When she arrived at the hospital, she hesitated outside Benson's room. Taking a deep breath, she pushed the door open and stepped inside. There he was, lying on the hospital bed, looking weak and frail. The sight tugged at her heart, and for a moment, she forgot all the anger she had carried for so long. Benson turned his head slowly and saw her. His eyes lit up with a mixture of relief and guilt. "Sabina," he whispered, his voice hoarse. Sabina didn't respond. She simply stood there, her face expressionless. After a moment, she walked out of the room to find the doctor. Dr. Andrew greeted her warmly. "Mrs. Benson, thank you for coming. Your husband has been asking about you." "How is he, doctor?" Sabina asked, her tone calm but distant. The doctor adjusted his glasses and explained. "He's stable now, but the accident caused significant injuries to his legs. It will take time for him to regain full mobility. For now, he will need a wheelchair, and with physical therapy, he will be able to walk again in a few months." Sabina nodded, processing the information. "Thank you, doctor. Please let me know if there is anything else I need to do." Dr. Andrew smiled. "Your presence here means a lot. It will aid his recovery." During her visit to the hospital, Sabina made sure to keep her children away from the situation. She took Anita and Joseph to Jennifer's house, where they stayed temporarily. Jennifer noticed the strain on Sabina's face and pulled her aside one afternoon. "Sabina, how are you holding up?" Jennifer asked gently. Sabina sighed, her shoulders sagging. "I'm doing my best, Jenny. It's not easy, but I have to be strong for the kids." Jennifer placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You have always been strong, Sabina. Just take it one day at a time, and if you need help, you know I'm here." "Thank you," Sabina said with a faint smile. A few days later, Benson was discharged from the hospital. Sabina arranged for transportation to bring him home. He sat silently in the wheelchair, his face filled with shame as he arrived at the house. Once inside, Sabina helped him settle in without saying much. Benson tried to meet her eyes, but she avoided his gaze. "Sabina," he said softly, his voice trembling. She ignored him, focusing on adjusting the pillows on the couch where he would sit. "Sabina, please, I'm so sorry," Benson continued, tears streaming down his face. "I know I've hurt you. I know I've failed as a husband and a father, but please forgive me." Sabina stood up and looked at him briefly. "You should rest," she said curtly before walking away. Over the next few days, Sabina continued to care for Benson, ensuring he had everything he needed, but she refused to engage in any conversation beyond what was necessary. Benson, on the other hand, couldn't stop crying and begging for her forgiveness. "I'm sorry, Sabina," he said one evening as she placed his dinner tray in front of him. "I know I don't deserve your kindness, but I'm truly sorry. Please, just give me a chance to make things right." Sabina didn't respond. She turned and walked away, her heart heavy with conflicting emotions. One afternoon, after weeks of Benson's constant apologies, Sabina sat in the living room, staring out the window. Benson wheeled himself over to her, his face pale and his eyes red from crying. "Sabina," he said quietly. She turned to look at him, her expression softening slightly. "Whoa, what is it, Benson?" Please, can we talk? He asked, his voice breaking. I need to tell you how sorry I am. I need to make things right. Sabina sighed deeply, tears welling up in her eyes. She gestured for him to sit closer. All right, she said softly. Let's talk. Benson began to speak, his words pouring out like a flood. Sabina, I've been a terrible husband and father. I took you for granted. I lied. I cheated. And I abandoned you and the kids. I don't even know how to begin to make up for everything I've done. But I promise you, I'll spend the rest of my life trying. Sabina's tears flowed freely. Do you know how much pain you caused me, Benson? She said, her voice trembling. For years, I cried myself to sleep, wondering why my husband didn't love me anymore. I watched our children suffer because he refused to take care of them. I begged for money just to feed them while you spent everything on another woman. Benson hung his head, his shoulders shaking with silent sobs. I'm sorry, Sabina. I'm so sorry. I've learned my lesson and I promise to be a better man. Please, just give me one chance. Sabina looked at him for a long moment, her heart torn. Finally, she reached out and took his hand. Benson, she said softly, I don't know if I can ever forget what you did, but for the sake of our children, I'm willing to try. If you are truly ready to change, then let's start over. Benson nodded, tears streaming down his face. Thank you, Sabina. I swear I will never let you down again. The next day, Sabina went to Jennifer's house to bring Anita and Joseph home. The children were excited to see their mother and couldn't stop asking questions. Mommy, is Daddy home now? Anita asked eagerly. Yes, my love, Sabina replied. Daddy is home and is waiting to see you. When they arrived home, Benson was sitting in his wheelchair in the living room. His eyes lit up when he saw the children. Daddy! Joseph and Anita shouted, running towards him. Benson opened his arms and they hugged him tightly. My babies, he said, his voice choked with emotion. I have missed you so much. Anita looked up at him. Daddy, are you okay now? I will be, Benson said, stroking her hair. And I promise to take care of you and your brother from now on. Joseph smiled brightly. We love you, Daddy. I love you too, Benson said, tears streaming down his face. Sabina watched the scene unfold, her heart full of hope. For the first time in years, her family felt whole again. As the days turned into weeks, Benson worked hard to regain Sabina's trust. He attended therapy sessions, helped with the children, and supported Sabina's business. Slowly but surely, their family began to heal. And though the scars of the past remained, they faced the future together, stronger than ever. Cheating and abandoning one's family lead to pain, regret, and broken relationships. A family thrives on love, trust, and responsibility. When a person neglects their duty as a spouse or parent, they not only hurt their loved ones, but also risk losing everything they hold dear. True happiness comes from valuing and supporting your family, being faithful and nurturing the bond that holds you together. No material wealth or fleeting pleasures can replace the joy of a united and loving home. Thank you so much for watching this amazing story about Sabina and Benson on African Stories by V. If you liked it and felt inspired with your journey, please show your support by clicking the like button, sharing with your friends, and leaving a comment below. To see more interesting stories and learn about different cultures, subscribe to African Stories by V, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Your support means a lot and helps us bring more stories to you. Until we meet again, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep smiling.